Hey everybody, it's Ben, and this is my first ever poll list review on my channel of the 3 single issues that I picked up this week from my local comic shop. It's all Marvel this week. We have All New X Factor issue 2, Amazing X-Men issue 3, and Revolutionary War Dark Angel issue number 1. So we'll start out this review with All New X Factor issue 2. Which the series is written by Peter David, illustrated by Carmine Di Giandomenico, and is coloured by Lee Loughridge. And it picks up right after the events of the first issue, where we have our All New X Factor team under the employ of Several Industries, which is an up-and-coming company which wants to own its own corporate superhero team, and the first ever corporate superhero team, which we have Polaris, Quicksilver, and Gambit. And unfortunately for the team, who have been sent into an AIM stronghold in order to rescue some captive mutants, which are being experimented on by Dr. Terence Hoffman. Unfortunately, the team, right at the start of the issue, fall trap to some would-be death traps set by Hoffman and his fellow cohorts in the AIM organization. And there's a great scene of Polaris basically trying to bring down the building around their ears, because she feels that as soon as she leads the team into a situation, it all goes pear-shaped and it all goes to hell. And we have a great reveal as to who one of the captives is to Polaris, which are being held by Dr. Hoffman, as well as 2 others, which I'll get onto in a moment. And there you see Gambit coming up with a quick solution to his own death trap, which is to throw one of his kinetically charged cards into the furnace below. And there's some really great banter and some great teamwork action between both Quicksilver and Gambit, who, despite the fact that they don't see eye to eye, they do work really well together, surprisingly so. There's some great story reveal as to who the female is of the captives being held by Dr. Hoffman. And there's also a really great explanation as to how this certain female mutant came to be captured by Hoffman, along with 2 fellow mutants as well. And it's done in such a way which makes it very easy to understand, very easy to follow. So if you're out there and you're watching this video and you're new to the All New X Factor series, then I think if you read this, you'll be fully on board with the reasonings behind their capture, and being able to fully understand what's going on without having to go back to the previous volume, which was volume 3, which ended with 262 back in September of last year. And at the same time, you have the reveal as to what Dr. Hoffman has been up to with these mutants and the experiments, and that is to actually become a mutant himself. And Carmine Di Giandomenico's artwork in this looks absolutely fantastic, especially from this ensuing scene of action with our All New X Factor members. And once again, like I said, there's some really great team-up action between Gambit and Quicksilver. And there's a really great and really fun pop culture reference to Star Wars from Gambit. And there's a great retort by Pietro or Quicksilver. This is a really great 2-part story arc to the start of the All New X Factor series. There were some reviews online which said it ended abruptly. It kind of did. It's sort of the last page, and it felt like it sort of ended a bit abruptly. But this is a really great introductory 2-part story arc to the series. It just really sets up our 3 founding members of the team. And I'm still really interested to see where this story goes. I'm still fully on board with the series, as the series is now on my pull list, as I added it shortly after I read issue 1 last week. Peter David's writing and storytelling continues to be absolutely fantastic and absolutely stellar, along with Carmine Di Giandomenico's great artwork in this. And also, once again, Lee Loughridge does a great job on the colouring as well. If I had to give this issue a rating, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. I've really enjoyed it. I'm definitely looking forward to issue 2 next month. Next up for my reviews, we have Amazing X-Men, issue number 3, which is written by Jason Aaron and illustrated by Ed McGuinness. Inked by Dexter Vines and coloured by Marte Gracia, sorry. And it picks up right after the events of the previous issue. Just bear with me 1 second while I try and get this into focus. I know this is very unprofessional. I should put a marker on the table or a cross or something so I know where to place the issue so you can get the best out of the artwork. My apologies, guys, as this is my first pull list review. I will try and make sure future videos are more professional. Anyway, so the issue picks up right after the events of issue 2, where we have Azazel giving a speech to his fellow pirates and fellow cohorts in Hell, and then we have the introduction of Hank McCoy, or Beast. And this issue is part 3 of 5 in the Quest for Nightcrawler storyline, and there's a really great battle and a great action and fight scene between both Beast and Azazel. And Beast has mostly been portrayed recently as the comic relief in the stories written by Jason Aaron, but in this particular fight scene you really see how capable of a fighter Beast actually is, and he's more than able to hold his own against Azazel, while at the same time there's some great dialogue exchange between the characters. Jason Aaron just does an absolutely fantastic job on the writing and the storytelling once again, along with Ed McGuinness's equally fantastic artwork, Dexter Vines' inking, and Marte Gracia's colouring all remain absolutely stellar. Like I said, there's a really great action and some great fight scenes. There's a great fight scene which happens between the two. And once again, like I said, speaking of fantastic artwork, there's a really great quip from Beast at the end of the fight scene where he says, "Math 1, New God 0. As Azazel, Beast originally thought that Azazel was going to invade Earth with his pirate ships, but Azazel says to him in retort, "Oh, I've gone past the, what use is a mud ball with billions of souls on it when I can just rule the afterlife and have trillions of souls instead?" So Azazel gives the reasoning of losing sight of the short-sighted goal of invading Earth when he can just rule both stages of the afterlife, obviously being heaven and hell. And like I said, Ed McGuinness's artwork is absolutely fantastic in this, particularly with this 2-page spread of Beast giving that quip of Math 1, New God 0. At the same time, you have Aurora Monroe, or Storm, unfortunately being captured at the end of last issue by Billy the Kid, or Captain Kidd, and she's been beaten by Billy and his crew multiple times. But then one of his crew members spots some puffs of blue smoke out in the ocean, and then you have a great 1-page spread and a great reintroduction of Kurt Wagner, or Nightcrawler, trying to take over Billy the Kid's ship, and he gives a great line where he says, "I hereby claim this ship in the name of the X-Men. Anyone who objects, pick up a sword and step forward," which was a really fantastic line for Kurt on the part of Jason Aaron. And there's another great line where he says, "That many of you? Really? Could you at least, form an orderly line?" And he just does his swashbuckling hero thing with the swords and the teleporting and his combat skills. He just Nightcrawler's just an incredibly cool character, particularly in the hands of both Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. At the same time, there's a really endearing and a really sweet moment between both Kurt and Aurora, or Storm and Nightcrawler, and there's a really great flashback to years ago when Kurt and Aurora originally joined the Uncanny X-Men with Charles Xavier and all their fellow mutants. And Storm, in the flashback, begins to feel that she's not quite at home with Xavier and her fellow mutants, and she wants to go back to her native Africa. But it's actually Kurt that convinces her to stay, which was, like I said, just a really sweet and a really endearing character relationship, to find a moment between the two. And there's a great last page reveal of a very feral and a very angry Beast, which I won't spoil, but yeah, just the moral of the story is you don't mess with Beast and you don't turn him feral. As you can probably tell from the cover, he's not exactly best pleased, which is, the cover is also done by Ed McGuinness as well. Jason Aaron, once again, just does a fantastic job on the writing and the storytelling, as well as the equally fantastic artwork of Ed McGuinness. The inking of Dexter Vines and the colouring of Marte Gracia. If you aren't reading Amazing X-Men and you're a fan of Jason Aaron, if you're a fan of the X-Men, if you're a fan of Marvel, if you're a fan of Ed McGuinness' artwork, if you're a Nightcrawler fan, or if you're just a fan of really fun X-Men series to jump on and read, I cannot recommend Amazing X-Men highly enough. It's an absolutely fantastic series and you should definitely be reading it, and I'm definitely looking forward to issue 4. And finally, for my pull list reviews this week, we have Revolutionary War Dark Angel, #1, which is part 2 of the Revolutionary War 8-part miniseries published by Marvel, which signifies the return of all the Marvel UK characters. And this particular issue, or this particular one-shot, written by Kieron Gillen and illustrated by Dietrich Smith, with Ruth Redmond on the colouring, focuses on the character of Dark Angel, who we get introduced to right from the get-go at the start of the issue. And we find out that her name is Siobhan Hadley, and she's the daughter of one of the Mystekian wizards who sold their soul to Mephisto years ago in exchange for immortality. And she also got some powers out of the deal, which her father and his fellow wizards made with Mephisto 1,000 years ago, as her father, obviously being immortal, lives forever. And some of her powers include she can fly, she can wield energy, she can teleport, but at the same time, there's a lot of inner monologue and there's a lot of inner thoughts of Siobhan about the fact that she's constantly having to work off her dead father's debts, and the debt that was initially given to her father has now passed on to his daughter. So there's a lot of inner monologue about that, about the fact that she's constantly trying to pay off her dead father's debts. Kieron Gillen does a really good job on the writing in this, as well as the really good artwork of Dietrich Smith and the colouring of Ruth Redmond. There's also a brief battle between Dark Angel and the Psycho Race, which are the minions of the Mystekian wizards, which we were introduced to in the events of the Revolutionary War Alpha issue, or the issue 1, or the one-shot, written by Andy Lanning, co-written by Andy Lanning and Alan Cowsill, and illustrated by Rich Ellison and coloured by Antonio Fabella, which I've also reviewed on my channel, and I'll leave an annotation somewhere in the video. So there's a brief fight scene between them, and there's some really quite saddening dialogue for the Psycho Race, and you get some brief back history on them before Dark Angel shows them mercy and ends them. At the same time, you have Dark Angel, or Siobhan, trying to basically renegotiate a deal with Mephisto in exchange for an easier way to basically pay off her dead father's debts, like I said, and that's pretty much where the issue ends. I won't give away how it actually ends for those of you who might be interested in picking up the series. And that about concludes this review video, guys. If I had to give Revolutionary War Dark Angel a rating, I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5. As I said, the writing by Kieron Gillen is really good, along with the equally good artwork of Dietrich Smith and the colouring of Ruth Redmond. For those of you interested, I still have the digital code for Revolutionary War Dark Angel, as well as the digital code for Amazing X-Men issue 3. So for those of you out there who may be interested in reading both of these issues digitally, by all means feel free to leave a comment below, and I will send you the digital codes for those issues. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, please excuse any hints and any showcases of unprofessionalism on my part, as I'm relatively new to reading single issues, which I've only started doing fairly recently. So hopefully with future videos they'll be a bit more professional when it comes to single issue reviews, and a bit more concise. But like I said, thank you everybody for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. As always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs it down. But as I always say, if it's thumbs down the video, by all means please feel free to tell me why in the comments below, or send me a private message. And if it's your first time here and you'd like to see more, by all means please feel free to subscribe. And until next time, this is Gambit896 signing off, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, guys.